This was the reaction in Argentina as they finally crossed the line in one of the most extraordinary World Cup matches, not only of this tournament, but that we've seen in the history of the game. Argentina win by 3-2 in extra time against Cape Verde, but boy, that doesn't tell half the story. Welcome in to the ESPN FC studios. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Craig Burley, Frank Leboeuf and Kieran Gibbs. Before we hear from the boys, let's take you through the statistics, exactly how this game played out. Remember, everyone thought this was just going to be easy for Argentina against Cape Verde in their first ever World Cup. They were surprised they were even in the round, but they'd made it through to the knockout stages, but 3 draws had guaranteed that. It would be Argentina who would take the lead in the first half. Lionel Messi added to his record-breaking stats, and at 1-0 you kind of thought, well, this is it. Argentina are going to steamroll them, and it's going to be easy for the rest of the tie. Cape Verde, however, didn't read the script. In the second half, Duarte would make it 1-1 after a lovely bit of interplay from Cape Verde, and that would see us go into extra time. 1-1 after 90 minutes, and Martinez, 2 minutes later, would make it 2-1 to Argentina. And once again, you thought, OK, Cape Verde have battled. They've done brilliantly. They've exceeded expectations from everyone, but they will then lose in extra time. But then Cabral scored a goal that I think even just talking about it now gives you goosebumps, because you couldn't quite believe what you were seeing as Cape Verde got the equaliser. But in the end, it would be an own goal that would see Argentina get the victory and they advance to the next round, where they'll face Egypt. Craig, we've sat and we've watched thousands of games together. I don't know if we've seen anything quite like that before.
No, I think in defeat, probably the best performance of the tournament by some stretch. Bearing in mind where they came from, first World Cup, how small a nation they are, how small a population they are, how up against the odds they were against multiple world champions, but multiple world champions with Messi. Mm-hmm. Everything was against them. It was going to be a non-compete. It was going to be a rollover. And not only did they go toe-to-toe with one of the favourites for the World Cup, I think on today's performance we could revisit that. Not only did they go toe-to-toe, they outplayed them at times, and also on top of, as a minnow, putting in one of the greatest ever performances against an elite side at a World Cup. They scored, as you mentioned, one of the great World Cup goals that went from the goalkeeper all on the ground, passed it through this Argentinian side till it finished up in the left-hand channel, and it was whipped into the top corner, and I think that summed up their performance. Unfortunately for them, they came up a little bit short, but that was, as a David against Goliath, one of the best performances, and in some sense maybe a small vindication for Gianni Infantino to those of us, myself included, who said there's going to be there's going to be too many games where teams are going to get wiped off the pitch. We thought this was going to be one of them today, and it was absolutely the opposite.
That was insane. I mean, the Cabral goals, as you said, starting from the goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. And when I started dealing with the situation, I said, it looks like Barcelona 2010. And when he came up from the middle of the park on the left side, he says, this is going to score. And we all jumped. Yeah. We are completely neutral, but we all jumped because of the beauty of the goal that we saw, and the mentality that they have, the maturity that they showed, the technique, the capability of dealing with the champion of the world. We are talking about Cape Verde. I checked all the players where they were playing. Some play in Greece, some in Russia, some of them in Portugal. It's insane, the level of football that they showed during that World Cup, especially during that game. I mean, congratulations to them. They must be very sad right now in the dressing room, but they can get it out of the stadium, their head really high.
A country with a population of 500,000 did that, Kieran.
I mean, I have to say, I think if unless you're an Argentinian fan, you're a Cape Verde fan tonight. It was just incredible to witness. And as the guys said, you know, we had no expectation of them coming into this tournament. And you look at the first game against Spain, and okay, they got a draw, and you know, many people were saying it was a shock, and it was. But obviously, it's the first game of the tournament, and you think, okay, was this a bit of a fluke? And then they go and score their first World Cup goal, and then they go and score their second and draw 2-2 with Uruguay. Mm-hmm. And then they go into their third game and get another draw. And by this game, you realise it wasn't a fluke. it wasn't a fluke at all, and this team deserved to be here.
Yeah.
And it was just emotional, really, and gutted for them. Absolutely gutted that they couldn't, at least go to penalties. Because I think at one point, if they would have got to penalties, the pressure we said would have been felt more by Argentina.
Oh, yeah.
And on top of it, that they would have gone through on the penalty shootout.
Yeah.
They would have played Egypt.
And that's a pathway. And the way they played and the way Egypt played, that was a pathway to the
This wasn't
quarterfinals.
Minnows parking the bus and catching teams on the counter-attack.
No.
This was a team playing attractive, stylish football.
Yeah.
And that's what I've said all the time about some of these teams that have came here and tried to defend. This is not a tournament you're going to defend your way to success. Modern football is more, it's more forward-thinking than that. And the more defensive-minded teams are getting left behind, I think. A lot of teams, not them all, have came here with no fear. And that's made it a better tournament.
Sure.
I think when the winning goal went in for Argentina, the camera panned to Scaloni, the Argentinian coach, and he did not celebrate because he realised the situation he was in, that he was embarrassed that his team were in this scenario, that he was embarrassed by their performance. And let's just go back to Cape Verde. Only 8 teams have won the World Cup. And in their first ever World Cup, they played 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Played 3 of them. And in 90
And didn't lose to any of them in 90 minutes.
In 90 minutes, lost to none of them and could have won.
Yeah.
And the other game drew with Saudi Arabia. That's impressive. They haven't came here and played well against Minnows, although Uruguay are not a great side at the moment. They're way more experienced than these Cape Verde boys. They've played 3 teams that have won the World Cup, and they have absolutely matched toe-to-toe against these teams and man for man. Absolutely brilliant.
The results would say a lot about how poor Argentina was, but they weren't. I'm sorry, they played quite a good game. It's just they played a great opponent. It's not like while they had an on game, they weren't there, they weren't going for it. No, they were going for it. But the goalkeeper made a crazy save. I mean, when the Messi shot that free kick, it wasn't ready, and he went to jump on the other side. I mean, everything was perfect. The tackle from the one defender one time, that was spectacular. A high level centre back in the world, and everything was perfect from them. So Argentina had to deal with a great team. That's what we have to say today. It's why we enjoyed.
Now, they did lose to Saudi Arabia when they won the World Cup, so they know what adversity is all about.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to come back from this. It's not adversity because they won. They're going to come back from this scare. But what would slightly concern me is it is not. I think ageing Argentinian team is wrong, but it's a slightly older Argentinian team. And I think we saw glimpses of that as the game went on, as the second half went on, as the extra time went on. They looked tired.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a long old tournament and getting played in hot stadiums, particularly the ones that don't have roofs on them. And a lot of these games are going to go to extra time. And I think that may expose this slightly older Argentinian side, particularly one with Messi at 38. And he looked gassed at the end. Rodrigo de Paul, not a few of these guys.
Enzo Fernandez got cramps.
Yeah, I mean, so if you said to me at the end of the game, who was the fitter of the 2 sides, it was Cape Verde.
Yeah. There was a stage in that second half that if you were just switching on, you wouldn't know which one the defending champions were.
Not at all. And we talk about the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper was outstanding, but even the wide players and the midfield and the way they kept their distances throughout the whole game, so tight. But then when they won the ball, they were really effective with it. They handled the ball under pressure because Argentina, they don't like to not have the ball, so they're always going to try in the first 5 seconds to close the ball down. And we saw 4 or 5 Argentinians surrounding the player with the ball, but they would wriggle out with the ball. They would find the front man. There was runners. It was just a delightful performance. I was in shock, honestly.
The world champions were hanging on against Cape Verde.
And that's not an understatement.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
They were hanging on against Cape Verde for their life. Could you imagine back in Buenos Aires, back in Argentina, had they, even with the success of 4 years ago, had they gone out to this small country of guys who are just nomads in a football sense, that would not have gone down well.
I saw and when they showed the fans maybe on the last goal, they showed the fans getting up, they were on the chair, and you see a lady doing.
Yeah, I bet there was just a collective sigh of
oh my
relief.
God, we got it finally.
Yeah.
But that's what it is, a relief.
But once again, the little fella got them off to a flying start.
Yeah. Yes.
But even when he scored, though, when Messi scored his first goal, you could see in his celebration. Normally, he's quite. This World Cup so far, it really looked like he's just enjoyed it and you know, celebrating, happy, smiling. But when he scored that first goal, which was an amazing goal, you could see the relief in him that they had gone one up.
True.
You know,
because they were
typically
they were extremely compact.
Yeah. So
time.
he knew that this was a tricky game from the beginning.
Again, we are talking about players who played in good clubs, but not big clubs, against champion of the world playing for Chelsea, wherever it can be. And matching, I don't know. that was just an example. That was just an example. But they were absolutely matching with the best of the best.